Welcome back to Lamson Stadium. It's almost time for the 8th grade game here on SWX. Just wrapped up the 6th grade game. It was the West Side completing a furious comeback to win the game in overtime and come back 28-26 the final. Now getting ready for the 8th graders. We're going out of sequence today, 6th, then 8th, and then wrapping with 7th. Travel complications, of course, something that happens when you have to come across the passes when it's snowy like it is right now. And for those 7th grade kids, it makes sense to play them last. So we get the 8th graders before them, the East and the West. These are the kids who are on the doorstep of high school. These are the kids who you will be seeing playing in this same stadium sooner than any of the others. Well, we'll be right back on SWX. Stick with us. Kickoff coming up shortly. From Lamson Stadium in Kennewick, it's the second of our SWX Youth Football triple header this Sunday. The 8th grade game, East versus the West. The winner moves on to the regionals next weekend. Alongside Craig West, I'm Cooper Perkins. And Craig, all-star games always so challenging without a whole lot of practice, and it doesn't help cold evening as well.
One thing we might explain, we're not going in sequence here. We had the 6th grade game, now the 8th grade game, the 7th grade game. Travel issues, and so we've gone out of sequence, and so you'll have to bear with us. And you're going, well, why is that? Well, we know we've had a little bit of snow. It's cool. In fact, it's more than cool. It's cold, and the players are playing through it.
Well, this should be an exciting one. These are the 8th graders, the closest to the high school ranks. These are the kids who you might see next year right here again at Lamson Stadium from the east side, and on the west side, of course, so much talent. It'll be a great opportunity for these kids to test themselves against some unfamiliar faces.
Well, it's a nice thing, too. They get a chance to travel and play at a different venue and play at what is a high school venue they hope to be at in the next 3 years, maybe 2 for some of the guys, and have an opportunity to play.
Well, the winner goes on to the regionals next week. On the other side of the state, they'll play teams from California and Oregon to try and go to the national tournament. We'll be right back with kickoff here on SWX. It's game 2 of the triple header. That was Kira Gonzalez of the Kira Gonzalez Trio singing the national anthem. And down for the coin toss, George and Jeff Dress to do the honors as we get set for the 8th grade game here at Lamson Stadium between the East and the West. It was the West who won the 6th grade game, and now the eldest of the 3 age groups we'll see today takes the field. Remember, out of order today, 6th, then 8th, then 7th to round things out this afternoon. Alongside Craig West, I'm Cooper Perkins with our great SWX crew on hand at Lamson Stadium. Hope you stay with us for all 3 games of this triple header, 1 in the books, and the 2nd getting ready to kick off. Craig, now this is the age group where the biggest physical jump in development happens when you go from 7th to 8th. These are the kids who are knocking on the step of being in stadiums like this one we're at today every Friday next year.
Well, these are the guys that next year can make the jump, and you're calling their names in high school football. So it's walking. We had a chance to go downstairs, take a walk in between the games, and just the difference of the sizes. Had one come by that was older compared to the younger, and There is a big size difference from what we just saw in 6th grade.
Jeff Dress doing the coin flipping honors. It's the East who has their choice. They defer to the second half. With that, we can expect the West will receive the football to start the game. It is a chilly day in Kennewick. Our first game kicked off at 30 degrees, and that might have been a little bit generous. Still frost on the field at 9 a.m. However, the sun has come out. It has thawed things out, so to speak. Well, in honor of the Dress family flipping the coin, we'd like to take a moment to talk about them. Ever since George Dress opened the first ranch at home in Pasco in 1974, he's been giving back to the community nonstop. Family business holds the values that have been a part of him ever since his football days at Hamline College, and then with offers to play with the Baltimore Colts and Cleveland Browns. Hometown values, hard work, honor heroes, and while George didn't choose to make a career in the NFL, he held on to his values to take care of his family and be a good dad. Today, those values still come first, whether it's sponsoring local fairs, Camp Patriot, or helping the youth in our community. George loves football so much, and his family has been instrumental to many, many kids in the Columbia Basin Youth Football League. To George and the entire Dress family, on behalf of the CBYF and the entire Columbia Basin region, thank you for investing in our community. Well, of course, they're a huge part of that outstanding no kid left out policy. If you don't have the money to play, don't worry, it'll get taken care of. They try to make it as accessible as possible to all kids around the community, regardless of socioeconomic background or anything along those lines. They don't want anything stopping kids from having that kind of great experience playing football in those younger years. So thank you to them for everything that they have done and continue to do with the Columbia Basin Youth Football League and all of their philanthropy around the region.
One of the great trivia questions of today, what franchise is the Baltimore Colts today? There was a trade made. Carol Rosenblum traded Robert Irsay. It's the LA Rams.
And the kickoff has us underway, taken at the 20-yard line by the West. It's Jordan Whittle who starts this out, and they'll have the first possession at the 28-yard line.
Yeah, it's one of those you ever get in Trivial Pursuit that they actually traded franchises. So it was the old LA Rams that actually moved to Indianapolis when they traded franchises technically, and one went to the other, and Carroll was a movie producer in Hollywood, and he ended up with the Colts. They switched it, and then eventually the move came about. It's also another one of the great ones in the NBA. The original Boston Celtics are really the LA Clippers. So John Havlicek is on the payroll of the Clippers for life.
That's amazing.
Yeah. John Y. Brown made that trade. It was Kentucky Fried Chicken.
First down and 10 for the West. They take over at the 28 to start the game. Whittle, the quarterback, hands the ball off. His tailback is Noel Gukahini.
And John Y. Brown married Phyllis George, who was the first female to become a star, NFL on CBS, and do the host of the shows. I'm sure your dad would remember well. But former Miss America, and kind of broke through. First female to jump in football, get an opportunity in the National Football League, CBS.
You come for the football, you stay for the facts, right? Second and 10 after no gain on the play. Whittle, design keeper, throws a stiff arm, darting for the corner, and has his legs cut out from beneath him. Nice form tackle on the east side. That's A.J. Hendrickson to make the tackle.
Well, nice takedown and get him around the legs. That way you're not going anywhere. And this is where you see a little bit more polished football as we get a bit older. Players getting near that finished age and a bit more experienced. You won't see as many turnovers. and you wouldn't think as many flags. But again, when you assemble an all-star team, you will see that because of the lack of familiarity of who you're playing with.
It's 3rd and 8 for the West Side team. They need to get it to 39. Whittle under center. Hands it off.
Punt situation now. So what we would see in that 6th grade game where they would more than likely go for it, you would think at this situation more likely to punt. That's exactly what the East is thinking. Way too long, so that's going to bring flags, delay of the game. Not a big shock.
Oh, unlike the 6th grade game where it was virtually all circumstances going for it on 4th down. Expecting to see a punt here from the West Side team. Well, East Side has a man back, but now the West Side's going to line up under center on 4th and 10.
Interesting.
They're going to go for it. Whittle keeping himself, and he is dropped. It's a loss, and the East Side takes over and does so with outstanding starting field position.
Well, if they had mulligan cards in football, you might want one right now.
Ezekiel Akinbody on the tackle. And boy, did we get introduced to him a couple weeks back.
Boy, he really impressed us, didn't he? And he makes the big play as he made so many 3 weeks ago. We called the game over in Richland.
Toss play, 1st down. About 4 yards.
Looked like Harris got the pitch. Cade Harris taking the pitch to the left. Able to pick up about 3 yards.
Underneath this time. Muscling inside the 10.
Akinbody gets the call right there. Ezekiel Akinbody, grinding run, enough for a 1st down, gets inside the 10 down at the 8-yard line. So 1st and goal.
Harris inside the 5. That's where he's tackled. Second and goal at the 3. Harris again. Chips his way towards the goal line. It looks like we have a 3rd down upcoming.
Well, he just walks right in the end zone, doesn't he?
Cole Mullins sneaks it in for the touchdown.
Literally standing. Nobody laid a hand on him. Mullins just walked in the end zone. No better term than to watch this. Just walks right in. Stacked in between 4 guys and just followed the leader. And an easy touchdown.
Looks like the plan is to go for two. Oh, it's no good. And with 6:10 left in the first quarter, it's 6-0 East Side as they'll kick the ball back to the West here in the first quarter of the 8th grade championship game.
Well, some quick damage done after the decision not to punt. So the East with that first touchdown. Mullins, the 1-yard run. 6-0. Two-point conversion failed. So the West will gather up. In the last game, the 6th graders, squib kicks. We saw the 8th graders play 3 weeks ago. A lot of squib kicks and a couple that ended up being turnovers. So we'll see what they do here. And it is a squib kick. And fumbled, and it's still alive, and the East is going to get it.
Ball is covered by Chase Langford.
Well, there were 3 different guys that had a touch on that ball. And eventually Langford, a winning lottery ticket. That thing bouncing around like a hot potato. So no sooner than we talk about pooch kicks, what do we get? And a quick turnover.
The East gets it right back. They'll start 1st and 10 at the 43. Mullins shakes a man, throws a stiff arm, was grabbed from behind and fights his way to the 35. Pushed through the tackle of Kukui. And it's an 8-yard pickup on first down.
Well, picking up a big chunk right there, and East getting down to business here in the early going. Trying to open up a lead. A big whack of yardage right after the turnover.
Handoff on 2nd down. Not a whole lot of space there.
At that time, Cordoba running off the left side. Things closed up quickly. No gain. 3rd and 2.
Mullins flips it up, incomplete, had a receiver, but couldn't quite find his man.
Yeah, broken play, really, and it about came to fruition. A.J. Hendrickson was wide open. So thrown against the grain, coming to the left side. Mullins on the run, and just missed him.
It's 4th down and 2 for the East. Little over halfway through the first quarter. They flip it up. The pass is cut. It's a first down. Beautifully designed play.
Great call. Quick look over the middle. Langford, the tight end. More of an alley-oop pass than anything. And able to get the yardage needed to continue the drive. There you go, just right over the coverage, and goodbye. Toss it over to Paz.
Under center. Fake toss on the bootleg. keeps it himself. Tackled by Connor Tompkins after about 4 yards on the carry.
So little at a time, starting to really get some confidence in this offense. Pretty much able to do what they want to do. So as we had the last game, the West going pretty much a short bench. If you've got a green jersey, you're playing two ways. And we have a timeout on the field.
3:50 left in the first quarter. It's 6-0 East Side. They scored a touchdown on their first possession, covered 34 yards after forcing a turnover on downs. It was capped off on a quarterback sneak by Cole Mullins. Didn't need a whole lot. Now remember, folks, if you'd like to buy DVDs of this game, you can do that. You can call 360-921-8875 and buy as many copies of the game as you like by reaching that number, 360-921-8875. The middle game of a triple-header on SWX today. We had the 6th grade game earlier, which was won in overtime by the West. Now into the 8th graders, and then we'll wrap it up this afternoon with the 7th grade games playing out of sequence. Now keep an eye on this. Cole Mullins, the quarterback for the East Side, is currently on the bench being worked on. 2 men under center and the ball handed off.
Well, that's Medina that got the give. Things warming up right now, Cooper. We're at 44 degrees. So when we started the morning, we were at 29, 30 degrees. And we had 95% humidity, and it's down to 65%, so getting a little drier and really good conditions to play football here on a late fall day.
There's a no gain on the carry by Medina. Go right back to him. Knifes his way for about 2 yards out to the 23. And 4th down now for the East Side. Well, now Cole Mullins has taken his pads off, sitting on the bench.
Not a good sign. And worked on that right shoulder.
Backfield to Cade Harris and Ezekiel Akambade. Jump ball, incomplete.
Boy, in and out of his hands. He was open. Now the West Side will take over the football. Guess you can call that a near miss, but right off his hands.
Well, the West Side comes up with a stop. They take over. 2:23 left in the first quarter. And it'll be 1st down at the 23-yard line. Gokui gets the handoff from Whittle, picks to the outside, cuts back right at the 6 and slips to 35. It's a 1st down and a gain of 12. First really positive offensive play for the West Side after a quiet start to the day.
Noel Gagui, nice cut to the left and cut back in right. Picked up good yardage and a 1st down.
Mullins in the sideline. It's his throwing shoulder, his right shoulder, that He's kind of carrying around the limp right now. I think the assumption is that he isn't expecting to strap the pads on anytime soon. Gugui again. Slips through 2 tackles and turns it upfield. Stopped at the 38. Couple of yards on first down. Makes it a 2nd and 7. Clock winds, 1.5 minutes left in the first quarter. On 2nd and 6. A hole and a first down. Nice slippery run by Tristan Kantz.
Well, McCall's just grounded out there. 10, 11 yards on that carry. Finally got pulled down by Medrano. Just bowled his way right to the 46-yard line.
Clock winds under 20 seconds left in the first. 6-0 East Side on a 1-yard touchdown run by Cole Mullins. Tough run by Gugui.
Gugui with a 8-yard run, and that'll be the end of the first quarter.
Stick with us on SWX. On to the second. This is brought to you by BBT Performance. At BBT Performance, we offer you the best in automotive repairs and performance. Quality you can't beat. On to the second quarter. Cole Mullins, the starting quarterback for the East Side, without his pads and appears to have hurt his throwing shoulder. It's the West Side on offense, though. 2nd and 2 to start off the quarter. Whittle hands off to Gugucci, and he's out across the 40, knifing up the middle inside the 35. That's a nice chunk for a first down and 14 more yards.
Yeah, down on the sideline, looks like Mullins has got something that appears like a heat pack up on the right side of his neck, shoulder perhaps, but pretty much looks like his afternoon has come to a close. And, well, there's an all-star team, and you've got depth at every position.
We'd expect that A.J. Hendrickson continues to take snaps at quarterback in his stead. It was Hendrickson who led their last possession. First down, Whittle hands off to Gugucci, and nothing this time. Thrown backwards, and Cyrus Bazaldua makes the tackle.
Whittle with a quick delay. Nothing there, lost 2 yards.
2nd and 13. Whittle sneaks it behind his back, a little Statue of Liberty-esque deal. He handed it off to the big man.
Well, he about handed it off to the wrong team, too, because knocking on the door, Medina was right there. And that Statue of Liberty just sat back. He had no idea who was behind him. Anybody could have picked that thing off. Had that loaf of bread is there, you got to look at it again.
That was T.J. Wilson on the carry.
I think it's fair to say, Cooper, that was high risk.
And low reward, maybe.
Very low reward. It was interesting.
The best case scenario is you have an offensive lineman running with the ball.
Hey, look what I've got here.
Well, it backs them up to a 3rd and 16.
Kind of makes you wonder, though. That's one of those where you're taught, just punch that right out of his hands. You see that? Just punch it.
Just over a minute gone in the second quarter. It's 6-0 East Side. They scored on the opening possession. Cole Mullins capped it off with a quarterback sneak. A lot of the work done by the duo of Cade Harris and Ezekiel Akbati. However, Mullins is no longer wearing pads, now wrapped up in a blanket on the bench in the near sideline, so we don't expect to see him again. No diagnosis officially, but walking around with his throwing shoulder rather gingerly held, kind of dangling there like extra weight. So now we don't expect to see a whole lot more of him on the east side.
Yeah, that last handoff was kind of like walking by a pizza box. You can't help but want to go in and grab a piece, right? By.
Might be a broken play. There's a flag back at the 42. Two of them, in fact, and Whittle thrown down about 3 yards on the carry.
Yeah, two different flags and probably a couple of different holds. One from the white hat, from the line judge. And yes, preliminary indication is holding. So it was a mess right from the get-go.
The East declines. It's 4th down now. 13 yards to go, and it's at the 37. So not an easy situation for this West Side team. They went for it on 4th down deep in their own territory earlier in the game and did not convert. That then led to the touchdown for the East Side, and they're going to go for it again on 4th and 13. Whittle to pass on the rollout. He's under pressure. And he's swallowed.
Forward progress stop. They blow the play dead at the 48-yard line.
Credit the sack to Jose Medina. That is a monster loss of 15 yards.
Kind of surprised took it off the tee, too, Cooper, and that it was a passing situation. You knew they were going to put the ball in the air and ran out of time quickly. If you take that one out of the shotgun, you've got a little bit more time perhaps to drop back, but not in this case. Kind of stumbled as he went back, took the snap. And we know the end result.
First down at the 48 for the East Side. A.J. Hendrickson is the quarterback, and all Prosser backfield of Ezekiel Akinbadi and Kate Harris. Hendrickson drops, throws, lofts it up, one-on-one coverage, and the pass is caught. A flag is down. Pass interference likely one way or the other.
I think it's going to be offensive pass interference. He gave a bit of a push to the man in green.
Josh Rossback made the catch. The question is whether it will stand or not.
Yep, offensive pass interference. Good call. Actually, an easy call. You'll see the push there and the catch there. But it's all going to come back.
Well, still impressive body control by Rossback to make the catch and the adjustment. Once he'd pushed off to create a little bit of space, of course, but...
Well, he created quite a bit of space. Took the defender right out of the play. So the back judge, easy call there, and stuck in reverse. So it started in the West territory at the 48. Now all of a sudden you're back in your own end at the 38-yard line.
Oh, now it's a 1st and 25. Kate Harris has nowhere to go. He's swallowed by Adam Yu.
Well, a good term you use there is swallowed up. You, big man, just waiting for him, just tossed him down.
Loss of 2 on the carry for Harris. He ran wild when we saw him a couple of weeks ago in the CPYF Super Bowl. Back to the same play they used to convert 3rd down earlier, and it's incomplete from Hendrickson. Was looking for Langsford, the tight end.
Well, you got to think punt right now. 7.5 left here in the first half. You're up by 6. Well, it looked like a promising drive and has turned.
Another
set of rosters for the East with the numbers in order.
Well, they're going to throw.
And it's caught. Rosbeck hauls it in inside the 5, and it's a touchdown. How about that?
62.
It's a 65-yard touchdown on 3rd and 25.
Didn't see that coming with the way that drive was going. Did you?
Oh, boy, not at all. Great throw, great route. And he just turns on the Jets and runs away from Whittle for the score. Impressive throw by A.J. Hendrickson, who did not start the game at quarterback. Starting quarterback for the East Side is sitting on the bench wrapped in a blanket after hurting his shoulder. Hendrickson has come on to quarterback the offense and drops a beautiful 65-yard touchdown. Now they run a little speed option, but not enough space to the short side. Harris is brought down. The conversion is no good. But it's 12-0 East Side after Hendrickson hooks up with Rosbach for a 65-yard touchdown on 3rd and 25.
Well, drive that was very much blemished at the least turned in to be a pretty good-looking flower. By the time we went through all the seasons and caught everybody by surprise. So first you're thinking punt, and then you realize that they've lined up with lots and they're going for it. And they hit the jackpot. That's kind of like you were down to your last $3. You threw it in the slot machine and pulled 777s. Always a good thing.
Not quite 3 full minutes gone in the second quarter, and it's a 12-0 lead for the East Side. I'll get ready to kick the ball back to the West. Jordan Whittle back deep. Short kick. And it happens again. Cade Harris falls on it. No, the West Side didn't communicate. It falls in front of Sutton Seal, and he just lets it sit there while Harris flies down and dives on it.
Yeah, it's over the 10 yards. That's a live football, my friend, and we saw that 3 weeks ago where it was Prosser. The times in the game, Pooch kicks and able to come up with the game and made a route out of the game. So big play with 7:26 left here in the first half and another chance to strike quickly.
Cade Harris falls on the football, and it's 1st down and 10 at the 38. Jose Medina makes one cut, and he's off. Plants his foot in the ground and out across the 35. Nice 6-yard pickup on 1st down.
Good solid run off the left side. Well, too, with the big lineup that the East has, and you look over at the other sideline and short lineup. You want to try and inflict as much damage as you can early. See if you can shorten up the game a bit.
Second down at the 33. Hendrickson under center. Just threw a 65-yard touchdown a moment ago. Bobbles the snap. Uncorks another one underthrown. 2 separate defenders had a shot at an interception, and it is hauled in. The pass is intercepted. Folks, if we knew who number 9 was, we'd let you know. Unfortunately, we don't have a number 9 on the roster.
It's going to be Christopher Johnson who comes up with a catch.
Now Johnson
had him as number 16. It's number 9. So Christopher Johnson is the one that made the interception. Live ball. Hit his teammate. Then able to play the rebound.
That was not at all dissimilar from the game-tying touchdown we saw in the 6th grade game earlier this morning. Tip drill turns into a catch just before touching down on the turf.
Well, Pat comes up short. Any thoughts of growing the lead to 18? You can forget about it. Take over deep in their own territory for the West.
And flags before they can get the first down snap off.
Quick procedure call.
That the West Side 5 yards, and they really can't afford a whole lot of penalties. This is a team that has exclusively tried to run the ball, and when they've stayed on schedule, they've moved the ball pretty well, but when they've fallen behind schedule, that's when things have begun to unravel a bit. 1st and 15, not prime starting ground for them. Whittle bobbled the snap and falls right on top of it. Well, they lose too, but a smart play by Whittle trying not to do too much. He just falls on it. It looks like they've got a game going in Carolina with the Seahawks and the Panthers. Tied at 27 in the last 4 minutes of that one.
Have a real upset brewing today. Looks like the Browns want to win a game. In Cincinnati, no less.
The defensive line collapses immediately on Guguch. He goes backwards, a loss of 3 more, and it's going to be 3rd and 20. Kenneth Quijano on the tackle.
You'll have all the highlights tonight. Get to work tonight.
Absolutely. Prime time right after Sunday Night Football on NBC. You know, we had some great highlights last night of the nation's longest winning streak in high school football coming to an end. The Royal Knights losing to Colville down the road in Moses Lake. Wild game, 31-28. Flag comes in back at the 32. Might be dealing with another delay of game, and that's what it is.
The guy keeping the time is the umpire, and it's who made the call.
How about this as a neat note for you? Royal loses to Colville last night, snapping a streak of 53 consecutive wins. The last time they lost was 2014 in the state semifinals to Colville at Moses Lake. Well, guess who they lost to yesterday? Colville at Moses Lake, bookended by the same team. On 3rd and 18, it's Tristan McCounts who picks up a couple, but not a whole lot to seriously threaten it converting a first down. And now this West Side team faces 4th and very long from deep in their own territory, but also already showing a willingness to go for it on 4th down.
Winning streaks in high school football, that's amazing. Mainly because you're always turning people over. And to be able to keep that tradition going. So congratulations to Royal, but all good things come to an end. And a chance to start a new streak.
Whittle punts. Rossback comes up to receive. Gets a quick step and then runs into a defender. Yanks his way out of a tackle and then stopped at the 26. That's where the East Side takes over.
Not a bad idea to try and return that ball. A nice basketball bounce that came up to him and had some room. Able to advance that ball to the 25-yard line to the west.
Well, going back to the winning streak, that was the first loss that any player on that team had had in their high school careers. How remarkable is that?
Well, it hurts, but it's part of the process. You need to be a gracious winner. You learn more about somebody when they lose than they do when they win. You learn an awful lot more. And you learn a lot about yourself when you lose, too.
That is certainly the truth. A loss of maybe one on the first down carry. Clock ticking down to about 3 minutes left before halftime in the East. Pretty firmly in control right now, leading 12-0. Knocking on the doorstep after forcing a punt. Busted play Hendrickson, and he has to dive on it.
Boy, that was fortunate, and he was able to come up with it, Hendrickson. That was just back up in his chest. He went to pitch, and there was nobody.
It looked like he was debating whether to even let it go or not. And then, oh, there it is. Falls back on top of it. Remember, Hendrickson is not the starting quarterback for the East. That title belongs to Cole Mullins, who is currently sitting on the bench with a blanket and a beanie after hurting his shoulder in the first quarter. Based on what we can see from up here, it certainly does not look like he has any plans of playing again today. Hendrickson lets it go. Just a little bit too strong, incomplete. He wanted Nehemiah Garcia.
Yeah, one of the things, since you get to work tonight on KNDU and KNDO, that after the Sunday night football game, highest rated show on TV, I think it is, on Sunday nights, Green Bay, would you think at this point of the season that they would never have won a road game this year?
They probably should have had one a couple of weeks ago.
Should have had one in Seattle. And they found a way to lose that game. No better way to put it, but they found a way to lose.
Well, they should have had one in Los Angeles and, again, found a way to lose.
Found a way to lose.
Clean sheet defeat from the jaws of victory.
I've worked with coaches that had the term that I always felt was great. We were just good enough to lose. And that has been the story of the Packers this year, especially on the road. And they're in Minnesota, where the Purple House can be intimidating. Not sure how intimidating they are this year.
You ever been to that stadium, U.S. Bank, right in the middle of downtown Minneapolis?
I've been to Minneapolis, and when I was there in 2011, stayed a couple of blocks away from it, and it was still the big balloon.
Okay.
The Hubert H. Humphrey Dome. And, you know, when that was originally built, they had no air conditioning. Some architect told them, hey, if we go deep down in the ground, we won't need it. And then what it made was a sauna bath because you're in the Midwest. So there was a lawsuit, and then they put air conditioning in after the fact.
It's like the beautiful irony. Syracuse plays in the Carrier Dome, which is, of course, also not air-conditioned.
Which is made, and Carrier, of course, in air conditioning.
Exactly, an air conditioning company. You'd think it would be maybe part of the naming rights deal. They'll chop a year off the payment if all you do is retrofit us with some air conditioning.
Well, the good news is at least in Syracuse, that time of year when they're playing football, it probably isn't as hot. But
that's true.
In the Midwest, it's just nasty.
On 4th and 20, off the hand of the defender and incomplete.
Probably a good non-interception there. Take over.
Good old-fashioned arm punt.
Yeah. Just knock it away. Get over your own 34-yard line and back down the field. A little bit of time with 2:05 left. Chance to cosmetically repair the scoreboard a bit. And in the locker room. Yeah, my brother retired now, but he was an architect, and I know we used to have some discussion about that, how architects come up with this great idea. Yeah, we'll just go deeper in the ground. Well, you got this balloon. One of the great things that was about it was with that balloon was everything was airtight. And so kids used to go by and wait for an unsuspecting fan, pop a door open, and suck somebody outside the door. It'd take them right out, just in the vacuum.
Nice vision by McCounts. Picks his way across the 40 for a gain of about 7 yards on first down. He's been good when they've used him so far. McCounts 21 yards on 3 carries.
How'd you like to be one of the fans walking by and some kid popped the door open on you? You literally would suck you outside the door. And all of a sudden you're outside and you can't get back in. Great fun, though. I'm not going to give up the person that used to do that. But he does work in town and told some great stories about it. His initials are CP.
When it comes to financial advisors, James Shank at Edward Jones in Moses Lake prides himself on 3 things. 1, knowing what's important to you. 2, using an established process. And 3, then partnering with you to create a personalized strategy. Call James Shank at Edward Jones in Moses Lake. His number is 765-4464. That's 765-4464. Timeout on the field. The East talking things over with 1.5 minutes in this first half. They lead 12-0 and have largely controlled the first half, even without their starting quarterback available for much of it. Long 65-yard touchdown pass from Hendrickson to Rossback has gone a long way towards giving them a little bit more wiggle room, and now 2nd and 2 for the West as they come out of the break, having yet to complete a pass. Whittle under center. Guguchi is tailback. Again, the little Statue of Liberty deal. Underneath, short gain for T.J. Wilson, but it's enough for a first down. He picks up 4.
This worked a little better in the last one. By the way, the statutes of limitations are up on Corey Pearson, and since he runs the Three Rivers campus of the Convention Center and Toyota Center, he was the guy that used to pop the door open in Minneapolis, and it's okay. It's well past the statute of limitations, but if you see Corey, you can ask him about it, and loves telling the story about sucking people outside.
Guguchi finds the edge to the sideline and wrestled out by Rossback at the 28. That's a big chunk for the West Side, just what they ordered with 1 minute and 5 seconds left. 23 yards in the carry by Guguchi.
Well, Guguchi got up that sideline, had plenty of room. And they've got time to try and fix that scoreboard a little bit and take some good things into that locker room here at Lamson.
First down and 10 at the 29. Whittle to Guguchi. Into a crowd, not this time. Tackled at least in part by Johnny Cordoba.
And the West will take a timeout.
Just over 44 seconds left. 12-0 here in the first half.
And the West will take a timeout.
Just over 44 seconds left. 12-0 here in the first half. Connor Tompkins falls on the bungled pitch. And the West takes over at the 42.
Well, the East had pretty good luck when they had fumbled the ball, but now finally turn one over. So yet, again, we're back to hanging around again, and the West given a golden opportunity with the ball at the East 42-yard line.
I think I figured out the West's plan. They've gained a little bit in their starting field position each of the last 3 possessions. It was the 47 and the 46, now the 42. If all else fails, they can move forward on defense. They've looked outstanding on that side of the ball in the second half. Truly, really have.
But the East has done everything to let them hang around. Here you had that big play that Garcia drops the ball, and then you turn around and the ensuing pitch, and look what happens.
Whittle gets hit as he throws. Rossback came back on the ball to make a play. Tristan McCounts, the intended receiver, kind of busted things up, and it's incomplete.
Great pass rush by the East. So Body coming in. A lot of pressure.
Gugucci steps out of a tackle, muscles forward to about the 37. Give him 5 yards, and it's 3rd and 5.
Well, they've picked up 5. So for all the chances that the West has been given, final 3 minutes of the third quarter.
Third and 5. Gugucci tried to sidestep Medina, but he's wrapped up and then thrown back by a group of East Siders. Also in the tackle, Hemi Medrano, and it's no gain in the play. 4th down and 5.
Well, again, no solution for that defense by the West. Says they weren't run right into the coverage. Get a play in from the sideline. They've tried a little bit of everything. They've tried to throw over the middle, tried to go long, tried to run the ball. Just nothing working. And now, take too much time.
They're signaling an illegal substitution.
That was that play from the sideline. So wide receiver to the left. It was Corey Stone coming in, and that picked up the flag. So you're back to 4th and 9.
Fourth and 9. Gugucci bobbled the ball, and he's tackled for a loss. It's a turnover on downs. And the East takes it right back over at the 43.
Now the East, their defense, I think it's fair to say, has been suffocating here in this game. And it doesn't matter what the West does. Absolutely nothing's working.
The West still hasn't completed a pass yet in the game.
But they don't have time. Guys like Hockenbach getting in there and giving you plenty to think about. So you got to give them credit.
1st and 10 for the East. They flip it out. Johnny Cordoba sneaks past a tackle, runs over another, and then bulldozes through 2 more. Down inside the 45. It's a 13-yard gain and pushes us across midfield.
People like Cordoba and Hockenbach, you got to get them around the legs. You can't get them up high because they're just going to take you right there. Cordoba just kept grinding and picked up another 6.
First down, handoff, Cordoba bounces inside, gets a block, cuts inside the 35, down to the 30. And Cordoba continuing to move the 6, and he is the shot in the arm that this East offense needed. 13 more yards.
Well, Damian Bagley looked more like a bull rider trying to stay on for the 8 count. As you'll see him come in, grabs on, hanging on. Got about a 6-second ride there. Not the magic 8 seconds, but he was riding the bull.
Cordoba, a 3rd straight play. Rams into the line and then muscles it forward for about 4 yards. We'll call it 3, and it'll be 2nd and 7. Clock winding down, 45 seconds left in the third quarter.
Well, the East really in a good situation. Your clock is running. It's your amigo right now. You get one more strike, and with the way the offense for the West has been, you pretty much put the game out of reach.
Hendrickson got stepped on by one of his offensive linemen and falls down. 3-yard loss.
That'll finish up the third quarter. Rough way to finish it.
Well, it's a scoreless third, and on to the fourth we go. 12-0. The East leads the West. You're watching the 8th grade All-Star game, East versus West here, with an opportunity to go to the regionals next week. Stay tuned for the fourth quarter when we come back. On to the fourth quarter here at Lamson Stadium of the 8th grade championship game between the East and West. The chance in the regionals on the line next week. It's 12-0. The East on top of the West. A scoreless third quarter between both teams. Not a whole lot of offensive movement, but certainly some fierce defense. It's the East that starts 3rd down and 8 as we come into the fourth. A.J. Hendrickson on the bootleg throws a stiff arm but cannot get away. He's brought down by Christopher Johnson for maybe a loss of 1 and an upcoming 4th down now.
Nice read by Johnson. He was just waiting for him as he cut up that left side. Nowhere to go.
Excuse me, it'll be 2nd down and 11. Oh, no, it's 4th down. They're having a hard time with keeping track of the down markers a little bit here. All in good fun. Long day of football. Second of 3 games here on SWX with the 6th graders, now the 8th graders, and then we'll wrap with the 7th graders after this one's over. 4th down and about 11. Hendrickson flicks it out. Catch made, but not nearly enough for a first down.
Down at the 25-yard line. We tried that one a couple of times. Finally works.
That was Chase Langford who made the catch. Not nearly enough for a first down, though. And another turnover on downs gives the ball back to the West. They take over 1st and 10 at their own 25.
Well, deep in their own end and inability to get the offense going. And under just about 9 minutes left in the game. But they have been given every opportunity to try and get back into this game, but get it immediately snuffed out with the defense by the East.
And the West takes a timeout before the flag comes in for what would have been a 5th delay of game. So now they'll talk things over. And that's a valuable timeout to use in this situation for that reason.
But at the same time, it's best to take the timeout because you're still in the game. So as dominating as it has been, your opponent still has given you a chance to stay in this game. Why not take it? One quick little burst can change it quickly. You got to remember, too, that the East missed its extra point attempts. So it becomes a little more interesting there, too.
After each score, they went for 2 and failed on both occasions. So out of the timeout, it'll be 1st down and 10 for the West. They need to cover 75 yards to get on the board, and they simply have not moved the ball much at all in this second half. Stayed within about the same 10-yard window, trading turnover on downs between the two teams for virtually the duration of that quarter. Oh, it's 1st down. They'll start the shotgun with Jordan Whittle. To the left of him, it's Noel Guguchi. And there's a flag at the 15. An illegal substitution.
Second time they've taken that penalty in really the last 4 minutes. So that's where it hurts, right after you took the time out, trying to get everything copacetic, and then turn around and do that. Painful penalty.
First and 15, Whittle heaves it up. Nearly intercepted by Josh Rosbeck. It's an incomplete pass, and Rosbeck came down hard.
Body with a hit on the quarterback and shaken up. So Jordan Whittle took a pretty good hit for a big man from Akinbody, and he will have to lead. But for at least a play, but he got drilled just so he let go of the ball and threw up really a 50-50 ball. Fortunately, it was incomplete.
Tristan McCounts becomes the quarterback with Whittle on the sideline. And there's a flag.
We have a flag on the play.
Ball start before the snap, so that'll back him up even further to 2nd and 20.
2nd and 20 at the 15-yard line.
Now, this is kind of a synopsis of the afternoon. Penalty after penalty.
Oh, it's still McCounts. Design keeper plucking for the edge and smothered by a trio of Eastsiders. Ezekiel Akinbody, one of them, along with Nehemiah Garcia. I'll call it no gain on the play.
Ball at the 18-yard line. They're going to call it a 2-yard gain, but 3rd and a long way to go.
Becomes 3rd and 18. And Whittle still on the sideline, so McCounts stays behind center at quarterback. 2 minutes gone in the fourth quarter. 12-0, the East on top of the West. Noel Gugucci. Grabbed from behind, sticks his hand in the ground, finds his balance, and here comes Gugucci this side. Sneaks to the sideline, and he's loose. Noel Gugucci, no flags on the play, and he'll go all the way to score. 75 yards on the touchdown, Noel Gugucci.
That is Noel Gugucci. A 77-yard run for 6. And we have an injury timeout near the 40-yard line.
Well, sort of talking about letting you hang around. And you bust a play like that. And now look where you are. With 7:46 to go.
Keeping his footing there, so impressive. Well, now they can take control in some sense if they can convert this two-pointer. That would make it a 12-8 game and cut it within 4, but mean that they could theoretically win with another score. It would put the pressure back on the East side to score some points.
Well, if they're able to cash in 2 here, it's huge. It becomes a 4-point game.
McCounts zings it out. It's incomplete. And then for good measure, a pretty hefty hit. A 12-6. That's where we sit. Well, nonetheless, a 77-yard touchdown run by Noel Gugucci. Puts him up to 147 yards rushing on 16 carries today.
Well, the average changed with that 77 quite a bit. Go for about 2.5 a run. Change your numbers quite a bit.
Really impressive that he was able to keep his balance and stay up after the first couple defenders got a piece of him. Now 12-6, 7:46 left. Lots of time for this West Side team. And their defense has been suffocating in the second half. So, what to look forward to if you're the West Side team. You have a new lease on life after that first touchdown for you.
Well, Gagushi went right. All of a sudden reversed, came back the other way, and it became a foot race, and say goodbye. But the East, which had been so good defensively in that drive, if you were prognosticating with all the penalties, you'd say, well, they're pretty much dead in the water, but not the case.
Kick skips out of bounds, but it won't make much of a difference. It went out at the 30. I'll bring it forward a couple of yards, and it'll be first down for the East as they try and make their first serious response. They haven't really been punch back in this way yet today. First and 10 at the 35. Cordoba swallowed in the backfield by Gaguchi, and he's putting on a show both sides of the ball the last couple of minutes.
So Gaguchi reading that one well, and a quick answer on Cordoba. Well, this is one where if you're the East, the clock just is, it's going way too slow. But you just get that feeling you want to maintain the clock, but you need another score.
Second and 11. Medina. He's going backwards. That's another 2-yard loss. And now it looks like the West Side's defense is brimming with confidence. They've hardly allowed anything at all in this second half. The exception of 2 or 3 plays at the start of the fourth quarter, they've dominated this East offense.
It's amazing with kids, things that can swing games so quickly. Big play, shot of adrenaline on your sideline, takes the air out of the other sideline, and they're still parlaying that right now.
A 3rd and 13. Hendrickson hands it off underneath. Carry from Chase Langford. Maybe 2 yards for Langford, but it's 4th and 11. When you look at how this game has gone for the East, since Cole Mullins, their starting quarterback, went out towards the end of the first quarter, they really haven't moved the ball much on offense. The exception is that 65-yard touchdown pass from Hendrickson to Rosbach on 3rd and 25 in the mid-second quarter. But outside of that, the West defense has been superior. Hendrickson wings it out. Langford makes the catch at midfield, rumbles inside the 40. It's a gain of 28 on the play, and they convert 4th and 11.
Chase Langford was exactly what the doctor ordered right there. Used his size advantage on 2 defenders. Able to come up with that ball, cut up the hash marks, and inside the 40 and down at the 37-yard line of the West.
Gives them an opportunity to run more clock as well. About half of the fourth quarter gone. Medina running behind Akinbody, twisted down just short of the 30, but a nice 6-yard gain on first down, and the East stayed on schedule as they try and milk the clock and perhaps add some finishing points.
Well, that was a big play. That was kind of like a boxer being on the ropes and able to throw one back and find himself off it and looking to win the round. But it allowed the drive to continue. And on a pretty good march right now, what looked, again, dead in the water.
2nd and 4 for the East. Cade Harris into the game. And a fumble. He and Hendrickson ran into each other. A miscommunication. The East hangs onto it, but they lose 7 yards. Now, it feels like the West made most of their mistakes early on in this one. And since the start of the second half, the East hasn't quite been able to get on the same page. You've had a couple of fumbled snaps. You had a fumbled toss play. Now Cade Harris and A.J. Hendrickson run into each other. Certainly complicated by the fact that Hendrickson is not their starting quarterback.
Pointing toward the west. Now the East with another break. 3rd and 6.
It becomes 3rd and 6. Man in motion. And all out of sorts. The two teams trading 5-yard penalties. We'll do it again, 3rd and 11. 3:36 left in the fourth quarter clock.
Again, a great term there, out of sorts. That was out of sorts. Saw one of those in the previous game. But right from the snap, things were messy.
A 3rd and 11, Hendrickson under center. Bring Brock in motion. Harris running behind Akinbody. Cuts upfield. Ball popped out. The East got it back at the 31. The 32, rather, but ball security becoming a major point of concern for the East. That's the second time in this possession they've put the ball on the ground.
Take a look at that. Over out the left sideline, and then the ball forced out on the tackle. So Harris had the ball stripped away before he went down. Live ball.
To gain is 6, though, and it's 4th and 5. Clock winding to about 2.5 minutes left. And another flag.
Delay of the game.
That is not a good time to take that penalty. It'll make it 4th and 10.
Well, there's still time in this game for the West. Not only to try and tie this game, but the potential to win the game.
The East will take a timeout to talk things over and get on the same page. Already converted a 4th and 11 on this drive. Chase Langford, a 28-yard catch and run down the seam. Today's SWX broadcast is brought to you by The Wash Zone, a proud sponsor of Columbia Basin football. Find The Wash Zone at 1907 East Isaacs in Walla Walla. Prices start at $9.50. RV wash and hand wash are also available. Free vacuum use with every wash. How often do you wash your car?
This time of year, not an awful lot.
Yeah, me neither.
Summer, a different story. This time of year, you never know what you're going to get. Summer, you get bugs and everything. This time of year, rain, snow.
Let nature do the work, right?
Yeah. Finally, when it just gets where you can't tell it's red anymore, then you get something done.
See, I drive a gray car. It just looks more gray.
Yeah, Corvette this time of year I kind of keep in the garage. Had to get a jump start last week, but cut it out, chance to drive it. Black will always show the dust. So I'll have to take it for a drive tomorrow and get it out of slumber.
Prepare to say goodbye for the winter?
Well, the weather's really never too bad to where you throw the trickler on it. You usually get it out and run it once or twice a week.
On 4th and 10, Rosbeck, he wants to throw, heaves it up, and it's incomplete.
And they were fortunate that's Solis. If that ball gets picked off down the sideline, it's gone. That was one of those, once you threw it up for grabs, you're just hoping that the ball lands.
Since scoring their second touchdown with 7:26 left in the second quarter, the East side has 7 consecutive empty possessions, 5 of those turnovers on downs, 1 a pick and 1 a fumble. Now it's the West side starting with 2:25 to go and all the momentum in the world. They scored a touchdown on a 77-yard Noel Gugucci run in their last possession, and Tristan McCounts stays on as their quarterback. Gugucci needs to break a couple of tackles, fights to just get back to the line of scrimmage.
I'll remind you, Gugucci earlier here in the quarter busted loose for 77 yards, 7:46 to play. Just when you thought the West was on the ropes and not going to come out of that count. Right now, with under 2 minutes to play, they're still in this game. Now they'll call time.
Clock starting to become a little bit of an enemy for the West side, winding down to 90 seconds left. McCounts throws. Gugucci in space. He's dangerous anywhere, especially out wide. Sneaks past one, but can't get past Rosbeck. Great tackle at the 45. It's a gain of 9. 3rd and 2 upcoming.
I think he wanted to get to the sideline. And Rosbeck, give him credit, wouldn't allow him to get near that sideline. So with that, the end result, the clock keeps running and we're under a minute to play.
Third down and 2. McCounts swings it to Whittle, and he is planted. Brock Clark read it beautifully. It forces a timeout from the West with 42.7 seconds left. It's also a loss of 3, which means 4th and 5 upcoming for the West.
They've got your number 2 quarterback in there. You need to get the ball strong to the sideline. Most successful play have been swing passes to the half. So what it comes down to, the game really on the line right now with 42.7 to go for the West. And you got to think they're going to go to Gugucci. Just a matter of what you go with. He had the success really on the broken play, 77-yard run, where he went right and then cut back left and up the sideline. Well, not a designated play, but that ended up being the scoring strike.
Fourth and 5. West needs this one to stay alive. It is Gugucci. He has a hole, and he has the first down across midfield. Needed 5. He gets 10.
Well, he got 36.4. Clock will start as soon as the chain is set. May see a spike.
Instead, it's Tristan McCounts, a flag back at the 47. McCounts picked up about 6, and with 25.6 seconds left on the clock, we'll wait for the call.
Got to think it's going to go against the West. It does. Illegal procedure. So that goes for naught. Still first down, 15. The ball back at the 47-yard line of the West with 25.6.
Final 20 seconds, but counts. Touches down between his two receivers. It was in the general direction of Jordan Wool. And with 14.9 seconds left, it's 2nd and 15.
Well, you got to think they're going to look to Gugucci again. And have set up the block there. But you got to think he'll be a part of this play when the game in the balance.
The counts rolls. Plants, throws. It's caught. Pass is caught. Inside the 20. Heck of a cut all the way down to the 10-yard line with 1 second on the clock.
Yeah, they may have to put a little time back up. They were late. Let him go down to 0.9. Enough for one play. And we have a man down on the field. So it might be Rosbeck.
It is. Rosbeck caught the 65-yard touchdown in the second quarter that currently is the difference. That's what's keeping the East alive. They lead 12-6, and after the catch and run, we should have somewhere in the vicinity of 3 to 5 seconds left. And for all intents and purposes, one shot at the end zone for the West. Could we get overtime in back-to-back games?
Well, just when you think the game was going to come to an end quietly, this happens. And the catch, and down the sideline. Just about broke free, too. And a game-saving tackle. So it's going to stay at 0.9. You have enough for the one play to get the ball off. And 10 yards. Though you've got a quarterback, not the strongest arm in Whittle, but 10 yards certainly solvable. And I know I'd be thinking about Gugucci again. But you know they're going to be looking pass.
I think if I heard that correctly, they're requesting 10 seconds in the game clock.
Is that right?
And they're bringing the play back.
Well,
understandably, West wants an explanation on the far side between the 20 and 30. I can only imagine how confused they are if this is news to us.
yeah, the white hat came up, yelled up to the PA booth. I don't have people on the far side wondering what happened here.
Admittedly, we could only hear him through the muffled windows because it's too cold to leave them open today.
So unfortunately, the heat has kicked in.
It has. It's very nice. If you're concerned about us, don't be.
We're okay now. First game.
It was dicey there early in the first game.
Right? I started feeling warmer and then realized I was hypothermia had kicked in. Now we're okay.
So they'll bring the play back and put 10 seconds on the clock. That's a bit of a gut punch for the West after watching that phenomenal catch and run.
Well, they got to remember where the play was. That's where it gets interesting.
So they're going to replay third down with 5 fewer seconds in the clock. I think that's what we're looking at here.
So they put 10 seconds when they started. It was like 15.9, wasn't it? Well, now I'm confused.
I don't think I would pass their test right now. What we do know is 10 seconds left on the clock, and it looks like they're lining up at the 37.
Ooh, inadvertent whistle. Good grief.
So
Oops.
after all that, it's an inadvertent whistle.
Official made a mistake.
At that moment, that just kind of guts you a little bit.
You feel terrible, but
Feel terrible for
there's
him
an
and for the
official
kids.
line that hasn't had that happen.
Gugucci takes the handoff, makes one cut, spins through a tackle close to a first down. It'll be
And
a yard short, and the West takes their final timeout with 2.6 seconds left.
Well, it all comes down to this. Poor here, you get a big play like that and an inadvertent official whistle. And it wasn't like it was play action where you might get nabbed by that.
And it wasn't a situation like the 77-yard touchdown for Gugucci where you could wonder if his knee was down, something like that. That seems relatively cut and dry.
I've always said officiating is not an exact science.
Certainly not an easy job.
No. And again, having done it, there isn't an official in football that hasn't blown an inadvertent whistle where you get caught up, get a draw play, and all of a sudden they're running down the sideline. You thought it was in the middle of the field. Whoops. And you got to walk over the sideline. Sorry about that.
Well, coming up after this one, we'll cap our triple header of youth football with the 7th grade game between the East and West. Playing out of sequence today, 6th grade first. That one went to the West in overtime, 28-26. Now the East trying to hang on here in the 8th grade game. It's 12-6, 2.6 seconds left.
Well, the chips are on the table right here.
Gugucci takes the handoff. Last play of the game, plucks to the outside. A nice run, but not enough to get free. That does it for this one. The clock hits double zeros, and the East hangs on 12-6. Heck of an effort by the West to push down the stretch, but not quite enough, as that is how it comes to a close.
Well, great defense all day long here in this 8th grade game by the East. So job well done. Did their damage in the first 5 minutes of the game offensively, and then after that rode the D.
What an effort from Noel Gugucci. 21 carries, 183 yards, and the 77-yard touchdown. He was, at certain stretches of the game, the only hope for offense on the West side, and nearly brought them back to possibly tying this game in the closing seconds. But the East has just enough to sneak past. A defensive stop and a strong overall performance for them, especially considering Cole Mullins, their starting quarterback, was lost late in the first quarter. After that, they hung on, got a 65-yard touchdown from A.J. Hendrickson to Josh Rosbach, and they hang on to win 12-6. That does it for game 2 here. Coming up next, game 3 on SWX. The 7th graders from the East and West as they play for a spot in the regionals next week. Stay tuned. We'll have it here on SWX.
ready to take your to the